Okay, everybody, let's get started. Today is the 13th of Av. Maybe you saw the moon last night. It was 95.8% full. There's a little missing on the left corner, and it was just so beautiful and nearly full. And I encourage you to keep looking at that moon as we move toward the middle of Av. So we're going to start in the chair. This week, our Torah portion is Akev, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. So if you don't have a chair and you'd like to do this on the floor, that is absolutely just fine. I chose the chair to give us some space. So I like this idea, this teaching of 90, 90, 90. 90 degrees at the ankle, and 90 degrees at the knee, and 90 degrees at the hip. That helps us really align the bones and make sure everything is just beautifully poised to sustain us and help us organize ourselves physically in the best way possible. So you can find that 90, 90, 90, which is to say also, in another way, that the ankles are directly below the knees, and the knees are parallel, and the knees are in line with the hip bones, and that the shoulders are in line with the hips. We can find that, and you might spread the 10 toes and place them down to the floor and really feel that the surface area of the feet can grow, can open, and can ground you. And just take a moment right here to feel the beauty of this alignment. You might feel your breath coming and going. Take a scan through the body briefly and just notice if there are any parts of the body that are speaking to you, that need care, that need chesed, little love, and some attention today. You might speak to those areas even that are achy or possibly painful and say, I've got you, I'm holding you, I'm with you, I'm not going to push too hard against you. I'm listening. And we'll start with a little movement of the spine. Breathing, I'll just show you from the side so you can see. Little cat-cow, arching and curling. So as we inhale, rolling to the front of the sitting bones, letting the belly drop and the chest open, drawing the shoulders back and the elbows toward each other, and maybe even gazing up. And then as we exhale, navel to spine, curving the back, drawing the mid-back back, making a nice C shape with the torso. As we inhale, again, rolling over the tops of the sitting bones to the fronts of the sitting bones. Allow the shoulder blades to draw toward each other. Lift the head, lift each vertebra of the neck as you come up, and exhaling, curling to the back of the sitting bones, rounding. Keep this going in your own time. You may be slower or faster than me now or at any point in class, and that's absolutely fine. It's also the beauty of Zoom that you can do anything you want in your own space and you're not going to bother anyone. So at any point in class, if you need to go slower, do less. If you need to move faster, do more, add a little bit extra, do that. If you need to stop a movement and do something else entirely or just rest and sit, please do that and honor your own body's needs today. That's really the name of the game. So continuing with this arch and curl. Feeling into any places that need a little extra time, breath, opening. Keeping movement and breath connected. So there's no stopping. There's inhaling and arching, there's exhaling and curling, and there's just flow from inhale to exhale, from cat to cow. And then come back to center. Just notice, pause. Be grateful for that beautiful, simple movement that allows us to begin to wake up. Just notice how you feel. See if anything is different or more alive within you. Just notice what there is. And then we'll take a side bend over to the right. So we're going to continue with this flow of breath. So as we inhale, bringing the left arm up and over, ground that left sitting bone. As we exhale, we side bend over to the right. And then inhale, come through center. You can windmill the arms if you like. Exhale, side bending, grounding that right hip point, right sitting bone. And continuing like this, inhaling through center and exhaling to the side, knowing that you're lifting as you come over. So there's length always in every side bend, in every twist, in every forward bend, in every back bend. There's always length first. Take this in your own breath, at your own pace. Go inward and trust yourself. You don't even necessarily need to look at the screen. Just seeing what's there this morning. And when you're ready, inhale, come back to center, exhale, and pause. Just notice how you feel. And then we're going to grab the block if you have it. If you don't have a block, you can place the blanket also between your knees, if you like. So we're going to come and sit to the right side of the chair. And the block is going between our knees to keep them parallel. And we're going to take a twist. So we want to see that the knees stay even. So we're going to inhale tall and then exhale, spin to the right. So right hand pressing into the chair seat and left hand pulling, and that push-pull, that press and pull helps us to spin around. We'll stay here for a couple breaths. So inhale, ground the sitting bones, lift the spine, lift the rib cage, and exhale, spin. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, spin. Keep the head, neck aligned with the rest of the spine. Not your deepest twist. We're just starting our practice. Just take it easy. Take it gently. When you're ready, shift to the other side. Spin around to the left side of the chair. I'll show you from the other direction. So here you are, legs to the left. Block between the knees, inhale tall, and then exhale, spin. So left hand pressing, right hand pulling, shoulders even. You can take a look back to your knees and see, can you keep them to the extent possible? Can you keep them even? Right, so that'll limit a little bit the twist, right? If we draw that right knee, right hip back a little, but that's okay. So just kind of see how that's going. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, spin. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, spin. Just going like this. And then when you're ready, release that action. You can remove the whatever is between the knees and just pause and notice. What is alive for you? Then move yourself toward the back of the chair, perhaps, so that your thighs are nicely supported, and take them wide. We're going to take a forward fold, and I want to make a lot of space for the abdomen. So first, just take the palms toward the knees, on the thighs toward the knees, and press away, lift. Inhale. Feel a lengthening and hollowing of the abdomen, and as you exhale, begin to fold forward. So you can do this in any amount. Perhaps it's forearms to the thighs. Continue to lengthen the crown. Perhaps with the next inhale, you're lengthening, and exhale, you're coming hands to the floor. Right, so depending on, pay attention to your low back, to your hips, see what you need. If it feels really good, maybe you want to drape down, let your head go, even take your hands to some part of the chair, maybe the back legs, or if there's a rung between those back legs. So some kind of forward folding that, again, is including so much lengthening. And when you've had your fill of that, let's release and come on up. How nice. Just notice how you're doing. And I'd like to share a couple of words. So remember that we're in Deuteronomy, and this is Moses's long song to the Israelites, and he's speaking to them about going into the land. And we have in this parasha the second paragraph of the Shema. You might recognize that is here, and he's telling them, what they need to remember, and what rules they need to obey, and what will happen if they do God's will, and what will happen if they don't obey. And we have here a little piece that we know from Birkat Hamazon, from blessing our food, and a really simple instruction here. Let me read you a little bit of this. For Adonai your God is bringing you into a good land, a land with streams and springs and fountains issuing from plain and hill, a land of wheat and barley, of vines, figs, and pomegranates, a land of olive trees and honey. A land where you may eat food without stint, where you will lack nothing, a land whose rocks are iron, and from whose hills you can mine copper. When you have eaten your fill, give thanks to Adonai your God for the good land which God has given you. And then right away, Moses goes into take care lest you forget Adonai your God and fail to keep commandments. And when you've eaten your fill and have built fine houses, beware that lest your heart grow haughty and you forget Adonai, and then things will not go well. We'll get to that in a sec, but I want to return to when you've eaten your fill, give thanks. 3 words. Ve'achalta, you shall eat. V'savata, sova, satisfaction, you shall be satisfied. Uverachta, and you shall bless. So we have a real blueprint here for hoda'ah, for gratitude, which we can take into our practice. Eat. Eat, be present, enjoy, right? So this is food, this is every experience. Let's talk about it as it pertains to the mat. Come to the mat. Be invested. Do your practice fully. That's the eating, right? Be fully here. Take it in. Take in the instruction. Use your alignment points. Refine your poses. V'savata, be satisfied. Observe, take it in, let it be enough. Let it be enough. Let yourself be enough. And I think of Visavata, do Shavasana, right? Be satisfied. Go and take a final rest, which leads us into the next. By the way, BKS Iyengar says Shavasana is actually the most difficult pose. It's the most difficult pose to fully surrender and let go. So it's important. My teacher Rodney always used to say, never forget Shavasana, even if it's 2 minutes. Lastly, Uverachta, bless, give thanks. Give thanks you got here today. Give thanks you're in a body that is capable of moving and opening wherever you are, no matter what limitations you have or what is going on, or this is not a perfect body, right? This is what we have today. We can still be grateful that it is good, right? And we can bless. So ve'achalta ve'savata uverachta. I want to add that the Sfat Emet says, in this line of, you'll eat your fill and you'll be fancy and you'll get rich and you'll have everything you need and you'll have air conditioning, and then you will become complacent. And the corrective for that is to remember to bless, to remember that we always can have gratitude for what's much greater than us and the source of our blessing. And so it's important to follow this protocol of fully eat, fully be satisfied, and remember to bless for everything we have. Lastly, I want to just share one thing from Thich Nhat Hanh of blessed memory on food now. If you truly get in touch with a piece of carrot, you get in touch with the soil, the rain, the sunshine. You get in touch with Mother Earth, and eating in such a way you feel in touch with true life, your roots, and that is meditation. If we chew every morsel of our food in that way, we become grateful. And when you are grateful, you are happy. So let's chew every morsel of our practice, starting with standing. You can move the chair to the side. We'll come back to it in a moment. We're going to start with an easy side bend. And, I'll say you can take it with hands to the hips. You can take it with hands raised. You decide what's working for you, what's working for your shoulders. So first we're going to take hold of the left wrist with the right hand. If it's available to you, inhale, lift up. I'm sending my fingertips up. I'm holding the wrist, giving a little more opening. And as we exhale, we are side bending over to the right. And then I want to add, if you would like a little extra juice on this one, you'll take the left foot behind you as you do this side bend, right? So you can bend the knees a little for balance, but you'll see that that gets a little more into the psoas and the deeper stuff. Maybe it's for you today, maybe it's not, so you decide. Breathing here, every inhale lengthens and every exhale deepens. And then inhale to come up, exhale, pause a moment. We'll take the other side. So taking hold of the right wrist with the left hand. Inhale tall, lengthen. Make yourself a long, long noodle. And then exhale, side bending. And again, if you would like the extra move is taking the right foot behind you. Inhaling, lengthening, exhaling, coming to the side. And when you've had your fill, Visavata, you come up and you release. And every time we take a pause between poses, pose, to just notice and observe and allow what's going on here, that's the uverachta, that's the blessing. You're just giving a little final blessing on each pose before we move to the next. And that's our practice, and that's always been our practice, isn't it? Which is so great. We're going to take the chair and we're going to do a forward fold. You could do this at a table. You could do this at your desk during the day. And some of you may want a full forward fold without the chair. You may not need that. But I'm going to ask today that we take the legs as wide as the mat for this. Very restorative forward fold. And turn the toes in just a little bit so we're internally rotating the legs. Inhale and lift. Lengthen, again, opening through the abdomen. And exhale, fold. And then take forearms, if you like, to the chair. Rest your forehead. So it could look like this. It might look like this with the arms extended or forearms, or it might be deep and look like this, deeper. You decide where you want to be in this forward fold. This is not a give it your all. This is kind of a restful forward folding. Okay, and now that we're drawing the thighs back, and we're really lengthening, drawing the pubic bone back. Right, so I wanted to get onto this idea of digestion and eating as we talk about these three beautiful words from our Parsha. And physically going into the body, practice some poses that will help with digestion and that will help with abdominal awareness. So that's also part of what I'm hoping we might discover today. So making some length and space and softening for the abdomen. And noticing sensation build, perhaps in the calves, the back of the legs. And as you're ready, come on up. And then we're going to take a downward dog variation on the chair. You're welcome to take full downward dog on the mat if you like, but this is a nice one that saves the wrists and really works on all the elements without being down there. So perhaps the hands come to the back of the chair on the top of the chair, and you start to walk the legs back, they're hip width apart, and you can see I'm finding this sort of L shape and very long spine. Or perhaps the hands come to the top of the chair seat, giving a little deeper fold. Right, so you decide where you want to be, but it's this lengthening of the spine that's our primary investigation right now. So if you want to keep a bend on the knees a little bit, you can do that. And the eyes of the elbows and the biceps are rotating in the direction toward the ceiling. And that is called external rotation of the upper arms. Okay, so I'll say that again. Eyes of the elbows, obviously they're not going to face the ceiling, but they're moving toward the direction, like a sunflower seeks the sun, toward the ceiling, and the biceps the same. Keep the head and neck easy. And when you're ready, when you've had enough, release. Okay, we'll take a little bit of standing poses. Couple of standing poses. Let's take the legs wide. We're going to look at warrior two for a couple minutes. We'll turn to the right. So left toes in and the right toes out, and the front heel bisects the back arch. Hands can be at the hips, or arms can be out at shoulder height. And spread those fingers. You can't really see my fingers, but I am spreading them. Spread them, extend the fingertips, and really draw the shoulder blades down the back. So nice swan neck, lots of space in the neck. Shoulders are dropping. Take the gaze over the right fingertips. Inhale deeply. And exhale, bend through that right knee and come on in. So it might be a little, it might be more. You might use the chair as we've done in the past and sit on the chair for this pose. Couple of breaths. You can also come in and out, just kind of feeling how this is for the hips, waking it up. Nice and broad across the chest. Be'achalta, just eat of the pose. Take in the pose. And when you've had enough, come on out. Bless the right side, and we move to the left side. Inhaling, and then exhale, come on in. And again, when you've had enough, come on up. Turn the legs to face forward, both toes to face forward. Turn the toes in just a little bit. You might want to have the chair or the block in front of you. You'll see what you need. We're going to take a standing forward fold. Hands to the hips. Inhale, lift the heart. And as we exhale, folding from the hip crease, lengthening, coming forward. Right? Maybe hands come to the floor. Depends on the flexibility in your own personal hamstrings. Okay, common mistake is we sit it back into the heels. So make sure the ankle and the knee and the hip are in line. There is some sense in this pose that you're propelling yourself forward a little bit. All right, so again, balance, just like we did with the chair, drawing the pubic bone back, drawing the thighs back. And then if you want to come to a full fold, if that's for you today, you'll inhale, lengthen, and you'll exhale, bring the crown of your head down to the block or towards the floor. Fingertips in line with the toes, lifting those sitting bones up. Again, sitting bones in line with the heels. Slow, smooth, easy breaths. Good, and when you feel satisfied, there's that moment when you kind of just know, that's it for today, thank you. And make your way out of the pose, coming on up. Beautifully done. Okay, bring the feet together. We're going to come to the floor. Place your blanket horizontally so you have some lift for your hips. And if you've got that chair, we're going to use it a little more today. You may or may not need it, but I want to just show you a couple offerings. So the first thing we're going to come to is staff pose. In the Sanskrit Dandasana, staff pose, right? So we want to have, again, this 90 degrees at the hips and be right in the center of the sitting bones. So if that is not happening for you, a couple of things. You can sit up higher and you can also bend your knees, okay? And we can use this chair to press the hands down into the chair and really extend crown of the head up, lift up, right? So here we are in staff pose. So it might be here. It might be hands to the sides of the hips. You might notice that this is where the hip flexors can really just grab. So we want to see how to ease them up, right? So even if this is just no problem for you, you might notice, how can I soften 5% those hip flexors? So maybe you want to practice knees bent. Just kind of notice that ease. And then see if you can hold on to it to some degree, to any degree, as you extend the legs forward. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is bend the right knee, place the sole of the foot on the floor, and we're going to do twists in a slightly different manner than we often do them. This pose is called Marichyasana, the pose of the sage Marichi. There's A, there's B, there's C, and I think there might be a D. Anyway, take the left hand behind you. Inhale the right arm up into length, okay? And then you're going to take the elbow inside the knee. So we're going to actually do an open twist. We're going to twist to the left. The elbow is pressing against the knee on the right here, and the knee is pressing against the elbow, right? So you have this isometric action, and that helps you open and lift and twist, right? So this is a real opening for the belly. And then come back to center. And then we're going to come back a little bit. Take the right hand behind you. Inhale the left arm up. And exhale, take the left elbow outside the right knee. This is the twist we're normally used to. And then start to sit it up. So the way we've come into it, it makes for a twist that's a little deeper in the belly versus the twist we started with, which is a little more like base of the rib cage. So I'll go over that again. We're lengthening, we're twisting, and then we're kind of coming into that twist, this low belly. This is really, really good for blood flow in the abdomen, which of course is good for digestion. We call it squeeze and soak. So we squeeze, like imagine you were sort of wringing a towel, you're taking blood away from the region, and then when you release, that's the soak, that's the blood can flow back into the region. It's really good. So let's take the other side, extending the right leg, bending the left knee, drawing this in. And I'll take the other side. So first the open twist and then the closed twist. Inhale the left arm up. Really find this length, and then exhale, place the elbow against the knee and start to twist to the right. So knee towards elbow, elbow towards knee, right? Let that pressing twist, help us twist and open. Feel what you feel. And then come on back. Take the left fingertips behind you a little bit, lengthen up. Inhale the right arm up, and then exhale. You can even draw the knee in past the center line a little to sort of hook this. Find this here. So maybe you're staying right here, or maybe you're starting to come up as you work the twist to the left. And notice where your head and neck and eyes are. And see if you're working anywhere that you don't need to work. Maybe soften the brow, soften the jaw, the throat. It's always a good checklist. Ooh, and once you are satisfied and you are done, come on back. Okay, we're going to bend the right knee and then take it out to the side. So sole of the foot is against the left leg. It might be at the knee or it might be further up in toward the groins. You'll see what works for your own knee flexion here, your own body. The first thing to do is we're gonna turn to the left to square ourselves over that left leg. Again, space, space. Find that lift. You might just stay right here, or you might begin to fold forward. Okay, so that can look a few ways. Hands can be to the chair here. Hands can extend as you fold forward. You can lay your forehead down, which is such a nice supported way of doing this pose. If you're going in deeper, hands to the foot. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, start to fold down. So you decide, or your body decides, what feels like the greatest blessing today for this pose. Be here and breathe. When you're ready, come on out and we switch sides. Bend the left knee. So, ve'achalta, eat of this pose. Notice all the textures and sensations and nuances. Aligning the torso to to be in line with the right leg. Inhaling and then exhaling, coming forward, feeling every moment of this, deciding how it is you would like to enter this pose. Morsel after morsel, right? Just finding your way in, chewing thoroughly. What do you notice? Right, with each bite, maybe moving in a little deeper, or maybe it's the opposite, backing off. Feeling the flavors. Tasting the flavors. What are the flavors of this pose? And then, visavata, once you've had enough, come on out. Release. And then uberachta, and take a moment to bless, to thank this body, Letting this body just be enough today. Thanking the pose for its teachings. And then one last pose is going to be a seated forward fold. Okay. So inhale, long spine. And the drill is the same. You can stay here if you like. You can begin to come forward on the exhale if you like. Right, so each inhale lengthening and each exhaling just a little bit of fold. We've gotten all this beautiful softening and lengthening of the abdomen, so keep mindful of that as you come in. Right, we don't tend to think of the abdomen in this pose. We think of the backs of the legs and we think of the low back. What if you pay a little bit of attention to softening the abdomen? And when you've had enough, come on out. And thank the forward fold for its teachings in the body. One last thing I want to give you for the road, which is really beautiful for digestion, a practice in and of itself. So you can do this seated in the chair, or you can do this in child pose, right? So if this is too much flexion, we're going to be folding forward, sit in the chair, right? So either one. In fact, I'll model it in the chair. Make a fist with the right hand. Place it in the space between rib cage and hip point. You'll kind of find where there's a space for it. Take the left hand and cover the right fist. And then come on over, fold forward. And be here and breathe. You might feel a little bit of pulse. Might be slightly uncomfortable, but it's a wonderful abdominal massage. Breathe here. And then when you're ready, come up. This is a wonderful thing to do if you have anxiety, or if you know that you're somebody who holds all your stress in the belly. This is a great one to make a part of your daily practice. Then we're going to take the left fist over to the right, cover the left fist with the right hand. Just find that space for it. You kind of have to inhale, come up and over. That's what I notice in my own body. See what you notice. So inhale and then exhale to come in. I didn't say this before, but you can also place your head on a block. Maybe you already discovered that for yourself. When you're ready, come on out. Just give the belly a little tap, a little blessing, a little thank you. We'll take a few minutes of quiet. Take your blanket, unfold it. You have a little support for your head. Lower legs to the chair. Place the whole lower leg from the back of the knee onto the chair. Lower down. You can take your hands to the back of the skull and just pull your head a little bit away from your neck. And rest your hands any way you'd like. Perhaps the palms are facing up toward the ceiling, arms extended, or perhaps elbows are bent and the palms are on the belly or the low ribs. Let it all be enough. And we take this moment in Shavasana for digestion. This is where the nervous system digests all the work, all the efforts, all the directions from all of the poses. And now we just let go. Allow your thinking mind to let go. Even your attention to the breath, let it drop away. Just allow yourself a few minutes of being. And begin to come back to the surface, wiggling the fingers and the toes. If you have more time in your day and you can extend your Shavasana, go for it. Just turn off the video and give yourself a few more minutes. If you're returning to your day, just wiggle those fingers and toes. Take the arms, extend them overhead. Bend the knees. Draw them toward your chest. You can take the feet to the edge of the chair and make your way over to one side. Gather yourself up in a little fetal ball. Feel yourself in this body. And as you are ready, press into the hands, keep the spine long, make your way up to a comfortable seat. Tall spine. As we put a khatima, a seal on our practice, I'll share again these words from Thich Nhat Hanh. If we chew every morsel of our food in that way, we become grateful. And when you are grateful, you are happy. So take a hand to your belly and another hand to your heart. Feel the rising and falling of the breath. And we can bring these three words with us into all aspects of practice, really, because all life is practice this week. Ve'achalta, ve'savata, uverachta. When you're ready, release the hands. Allow the eyes to open if they've been closed. I'm wishing you Shavua Tov, everyone. Thanks for practicing. If If Shofar Project is of interest to you, please sign up. If today's practice or any of our yoga practices have been, or any of our daily sits, any of our teachings have been useful to you, please feel free to make a donation in any amount whatsoever. It helps us to continue to offer these free resources as we do. I will be here for the next 2 weeks, I think. And then the final 2 weeks of August, if I have this right, Julie Newman will be sitting in my seat, very kindly subbing in for me while I'm away. And I encourage you to avail yourselves of Julie's teaching. Cantor Julie Newman is a powerful teacher, student of Torah, and wonderful yogini. Let me just make sure I have those dates correct. Yeah, I'm here the 7th and 14th. Julie is here on the 21st and the 28th. If you have a question or a comment, a reflection on how today's Torah sat in your body, in your practice, you want to speak it into the space, please use the hand-raising function, or you can also put something into the chat. Now I can see a little better. My goodness.